Chapter 1. You won't have the nerve. You won't have the nerve, Annie. You care too much about your reputation. He said it smiling, loud enough for it to become truth. And it wasn't behind closed doors, not in a courtroom, not in a press conference. It was worse. 9:17 a.m. The glass hallway that overlooks our diamond showroom. That hallway exists to intimidate. Perfect lighting. High-value clients moving slow like the floor is made of money. Directors walking with practiced urgency. Employees getting water just to listen. And Tom, my subordinate, positioned me like I didn't belong in my own building. He leaned against the wall, relaxed, like the company was his, like I was just another powerful woman he'd learned to control with a victim face. I watched his gaze drop, not to my face, to my hand, to my ring, a small diamond, discreet, not flashy, not empire owner, the kind of detail a man like him shouldn't care about. But he did. And that gave me a calm I didn't even have to fake. My phone vibrated inside my blazer pocket. Notification. Tom sent a file. Contract final draft, vi7.pdf. I didn't open it. I stored it like ammunition. You want to do this here? I asked quietly. Right now? He tilted his head like he was performing. Now, because you won't scream. You won't ask for help. You won't stain your image over a guy like me. The humiliation wasn't his words. It was the hallway's reaction. Some people pretended they didn't see. Some watched and stayed. Some stayed because they wanted to see me fall, to prove that old theory. Powerful women are always one scandal away from becoming gossip. Tom stepped closer. Too close. The kind of closeness he used to blur boundaries and call it chemistry. Sign today, Annie, he whispered, or I destroy you the right way. I heard him, and before I answered, my watch vibrated. Event created. Extraordinary meeting. Board plus compliance in 30 minutes. No organizer listed, but I recognized the pattern, and I smiled again. Not because I felt safe, because I was prepared. Tom mistook my silence for weakness and raised his voice for the audience. She loves playing savior, he said, scanning the onlookers. But in the end, she's just like everyone else. She just has more money. I saw a director pause, listen, and keep walking like it wasn't happening. I saw HR cross the hallway with a folder and reroute when they noticed the scene. I saw everything. Tom saw it too. He just read it wrong. He thought I was isolated, ashamed, cornered. The truth is, I learned not to react back when I was poor. I learned to wait for the second strike, because the first one is usually just a test. My phone vibrated again. Unknown number. He's trying to provoke you into a mistake. Don't. I didn't reply. I slid my finger over the ring like I was adjusting jewelry. It wasn't vanity. It was control. Tom smiled like he'd won. See? He said, nodding at the ring. That's what you are. Shine. Appearance. I know exactly where to press. He didn't. No one in that hallway did, because that ring wasn't just a ring. And that's why I let him talk. Because in 30 minutes, someone would open his final draft, and the entire hallway would learn who was bluffing. Now I'll show you why I stayed silent. Chapter 2. I wasn't born on this floor. My name is Annie. I'm 47. I'm trained as an administrator, and today I own the diamond company you just pictured from the inside. Not a pretty store, a full chain. Sourcing, cutting, certification, insurance, logistics, displays, international contracts, audits. Diamonds aren't sparkle, they're trust, sealed and sold. And trust has a price you won't find on a tag. My badge doesn't open doors, my name does. When I first arrived here years ago, I had no heels, no useful surname, no powerful friends. I had two things, fast pattern recognition and the patience of someone who has lost before. And refuses to lose again. My phone buzzed softly. Bank alert. Business account. Attempted credit limit change. I didn't tap it. I just noted the timestamp. Tom never met the version of me from before. That's why he keeps misreading me. He met me after the build, after the money, after the titles, After the rooms full of obligated smiles, he saw the car, the meetings, the dresses, and decided I was simple. A woman who buys respect with money and buys affection with safety. To him, I was a prize. And he was the clever boy who found the shortcut. Play the victim, earn comfort, then collect. The story he sold was designed to soften me. I never got a chance. I'm always disposable. You're different, Annie. You see me. He delivered it with a trained look, the kind of look some men use because they know strong women often carry guilt for being strong, and I let him believe it was working. My watch vibrated again. Calendar. Extraordinary meeting. Board. Plus compliance. 3 p.m. Organizer hidden. Perfect. Tom assumed I feared scandal because I had too much to lose. He confused a lot to lose with a lot to hide. I built this company because I got tired of depending on other people's mercy. When you're poor, you learn two things early. Humiliation is a cheap currency, and bad people always choose the most public place to break you. So I don't argue on stage. I argue backstage, with evidence. Tom saw luxury. I am process. In that glass hallway, he wanted me to explode, raise my voice, push him, become the unstable owner and hand him the lead role. I stayed calm because I've watched this movie from the inside. My email refreshed. Subject: Contract Final Draft. Version 3. Version 3. That detail screamed one thing: haste. And when haste touches money, it usually means someone promised what they don't have. I looked at Tom and saw beneath the performance a specific hunger. Not love. The hunger to touch what I built and call it ours. He believed I was too seductive to be dangerous, that I'd choose romance over conflict, that I'd pay any price to keep my image intact. He believed no one would turn on him because he had the right script: the oppressed subordinate, the man without opportunities, the abandoned lover. For a moment, I almost saw the company stepping into his story. Almost. My ring tapped lightly against the glass when I crossed my arms. Small, discreet sparkle. Tom tracked it like a cat chasing a laser. And right there, I confirmed what I already suspected. He wasn't in love with me. He was obsessed with a detail. And I wasn't going to open that wound in the hallway. I was going to open it where it actually hurts. Now I'll show you the first sign he couldn't hide. Chapter 3. Signs don't scream. They repeat. The first sign wasn't a beautiful line. It was a question that didn't belong. Tom caught me late one afternoon while I was reviewing stones for certification and casually asked, "If cash flow ever gets tight, do you have a reserve account, or does everything run through the same one?" I answered lightly. Inside, I logged it. My phone vibrated immediately. Internal request. Access request. Folder. Supplier contracts. 2024. User. Tom. He had no reason to request that. Second sign. He praised my heart every time I mentioned rules. If I said, "This has to go through compliance," he'd say, "You're different, Annie. You don't need bureaucracy. You trust me." Trust is not an argument. It's a scam tool. Third sign. He disappeared at the wrong times. Whenever Treasury closed, he'd show up upstairs with some urgent task. Always near finance, always near IT, always near places romance doesn't belong. My watch buzzed. Badge report, entry recorded. Finance room, 10:18 p.m. Name: Tom. I didn't confront him. The next day I smiled like I hadn't seen it. Fourth sign, he became too interested in my ring. It wasn't a lover's compliment, it was inspection. His hand would brush mine, accidentally. His eyes dropped without noticing. And when I removed the ring to wash my hands, he watched the timing like he was measuring seconds. My email refreshed. Subject: Automatic backup enabled. Sensitive files. I hadn't enabled that by accident. Fifth sign. He tested me with an audience before he trapped me with paper. He chose open spaces, hallways, cafeterias, near executives, to drop a venom line and see if I'd lose control. He needed me to become the woman he could narrate. I didn't. The same day he requested access to supplier contracts, I made my first quiet decision. I didn't start an argument. I started structure. A separate account, discreet, enough to protect essentials. Dual approval on anything tied to contracts, credit, suppliers. Two-factor authentication on critical changes. A routine audit with an external consultant who owed nothing to anyone inside. And most important, I started collecting screenshots, logs, timestamps, file versions, usernames, access locations, everything. My phone vibrated again. Treasury. Any? We received a strange limit change request. Want me to hold it? I replied one word. Hold. A scam thrives on your impulse, your shame, your fear. When you don't give it, the scammer rushes, and rushed people make mistakes. That night I entered my office alone, locked the door, removed the ring for 2 seconds, set it on my desk, and pressed my fingertip against the small diamond. Not to admire it, to test it. A nearly inaudible click answered. Perfect. Now I'll show you the exact system mistake that exposed his entire plan. Chapter 4. The mistake arrived by email. Tom's mistake wasn't emotional, it was technical. He thought a scam is just theatre, confidence, and a good victim speech, but real scams need clean trails. And Tom was good at looking hurt, terrible at understanding systems. My phone vibrated on silent, IT alert. Unusual export activity. Folder, suppliers/payments, user, Tom time, 10:21 p.m. Device, corporate laptop. I stared at it for 2 seconds. Not because I hesitated, because I confirmed. I didn't call anyone. No voice notes. No running through the building like I'd lost control. I did what I always do when someone tries to be clever inside my territory. I demanded trail. My watch buzzed right after. Badge report. Entry recorded. Finance room. 10:18 p.m. Name, Tom 3 minutes earlier. And he didn't even try to look discreet. Perfect. Then came the second notification, like the company itself was highlighting his script. Subject: urgent, bank details update, from Tom. 2. Finance, internal list. The message was short, rigid, pretending to sound professional. He asked finance to update the supplier bank that night, attached a PDF with logo and signature. And then he dropped the real trick. Any is aware, and requested this today. He was using my name as a stamp. My phone vibrated again. Treasury. Limit change request came in again. Do you want us to process it? I replied. Hold. Do not respond. Silence is a trap. When you don't react, the other person moves more. I opened the PDF and saw the first hole. The company ID number had a wrong digit. The ZIP code didn't exist. And the metadata showed the computer name that created it, Tom Laptop. This wasn't suspicious, it was childish. But Tom didn't need brilliance. He needed me to feel embarrassed and sign out of fear. So I searched for the most dangerous part of his plan, the narrative. My email refreshed. Forwarded by Tom subject. Pitch, Diamond Executive Story. 2. An external address. I didn't open it immediately. I breathed first. Because that wasn't fraud anymore. That was pressure. He was building my public discomfort. He wanted me stuck between 2 choices: accept the financial scam to protect my image, or refuse and become the abusive owner who crushed the poor guy who just needed a chance. I know his type. They don't want money only. They want control. My watch buzzed again. Meeting status. Extraordinary. Board plus compliance. 3 p.m. Confirmed. 7. I didn't schedule that meeting to defend myself. I scheduled it to frame him. I pulled server logs line by line like reading a crime map. Export activity. Attempted limit change. After hours access. Bank change email. Press forward. All time-stamped. All named. All traceable. Treasury messaged. He's insisting. Want us to request formal confirmation? I replied. Let him insist. And I built the folder. Not a fancy folder. A plain one, because plain folders become hammers at the right moment. Email screenshot, PDF metadata, IT export log, badge report, press forward. Then I made the right calls, in the right order. Compliance first, because compliance doesn't fall in love. Compliance falls in love with proof. Then HR, because HR cuts access, isolates witnesses, and blocks theatre. And the press? The press doesn't enter. The press waits outside, like a predator that smells blood. Tom thought he was cornering me. In reality, he handed me the only gift scammers accidentally offer, documentation, and he still didn't know my favourite detail. My ring wasn't decoration, so I decided exactly how I would make him talk, properly, in the right room, to the right people. Now I'll show you the small counterattack that froze his plan without anyone noticing. Chapter 5. Protocol 117. I didn't counterattack with a speech. I counterattacked with routine. 8:03 a.m. the next morning, before the building's first coffee, I opened the permissions panel and made one small change that looked invisible. I removed the one thing Tom needed to hurt me fast. Speed. My phone buzzed. Treasury. He's asking again to change the supplier bank. Insisting. I replied, request written confirmation with a protocol number and compliance approval. 8:11 a.m. I enabled the rule I'd prepared. Any bank detail change required 2 approvers and automatic validation of the supplier ID. My watch buzzed. IT. MFA enabled for critical changes. Affected users. Finance. Vendor records. Translation. No shortcuts. I added one final lock. Any urgent request outside standard hours goes into a risk queue. 8:27 a.m. The system made its first sound. Log. Bank detail change attempt. Denied. Validation failed. User. Tom. I didn't need to see his face. I know men like him. When a screen says denied, their charm collapses. 8:35 a.m. Finance responded formally. Request refused. Please resend with original documentation and compliance approval. I let it circulate the right way. Official. Tom hates official. Official doesn't cuddle. 9:02 a.m. He tried plan B, phone call. Name. Tom. I answered. They're making this difficult, he began, soft voice seeking comfort. I'm trying to protect you, but they're treating me like I'm... Like you're what? I asked calmly. Like I'm nobody. It was the bait. I let him talk. My watch buzzed mid-call. Recording. On. 0012, I didn't look at it. I touched my ring like a habit. Tom continued. If you don't fix this today, I'll have to defend myself. I won't be the villain. I added one extra second of silence. Silence is a mirror. Are you threatening me? I asked. No, he answered too fast. I'm just saying. People will know things. Perfect. I ended with a neutral line. I'll look into it. And I didn't. I documented. I opened a formal case in compliance and generated a number. Protocol 117. My phone buzzed with the automatic reply. Compliance. Received. Preliminary investigation opened. Deadline, 24 hours. Related requests must be frozen. Frozen. That's where his scam died. Quietly. No hallway, no audience. And because Tom needs an audience, he tried to create one. 10:17 a.m. His first unscripted reaction arrived. WhatsApp. Personal. Are you punishing me out of jealousy? This is abuse of power. I didn't answer. Screenshot. Folder. Then, I have proof of our romance. Screenshot. Folder. My email pinged. Subject. Extraordinary meeting. Agenda updated. Item 1. Vendor fraud risk. Item 2. Conduct and workplace harassment. I smiled at the precision. Because now it wasn't Annie versus Tom. It was process versus improvisation. And he still thought I was buying time. So he tried to force me publicly. Now I'll show you what he didn't anticipate.
Chapter 6. An audience decides fast. Tom didn't try to beat me in the system. He tried to beat me through people. Because when a scam gets blocked, a scammer needs another currency. And inside a company, the cheapest currency is gossip dressed as moral outrage. 11:06 a.m. My phone buzzed. Head of operations. Ennie, he's crying in the cafe, saying you're persecuting him. I didn't respond immediately. I logged cafe, public, narrative. 2 minutes later, procurement manager. He's saying you blocked payments to get revenge. It's looking bad. That's how it starts, not with documents, with atmosphere. Tom didn't need everyone to believe him. He needed doubt to become noise, and noise to become pressure. 11:19 a.m. An unknown number called. I answered. Ennie, it's Tom's mother. Her voice was rehearsed, shaky, with anger hiding underneath. My son told me everything. He's always been humiliated. He just wanted a chance. You're going to destroy his life because he fell in love. I paused 1 second. Mirror again. Mom, I don't discuss corporate matters by phone, I said calmly, especially with an outsider. She exploded. You think money buys everything. My son is not your toy. I finished like protocol. If he has something to present, he can present it in writing, through compliance. I hung up. My watch buzzed. Recording. On. 0:47. Perfect. Not out of cruelty, out of accuracy, because social pressure enters without gloves, and I like pressure without gloves. It leaves fingerprints. 11:42 a.m. Tom escalated. He began posting indirect messages in internal groups I wasn't even in. Someone forwarded me a screenshot. Tom. Some people use power to silence you, but I won't be silenced. I have dignity. Dignity. The favourite word of people trying to make you a villain without showing a document. My phone buzzed. Internal pressure from above. CFO. Ennie, can we talk? This is becoming an image problem. I replied only, yes, 3 p.m, extraordinary meeting. I don't argue in hallways. I argue in minutes. An old industry acquaintance messaged privately. Ennie, just resolve it. Make an agreement. Pay and end it. You don't need this headache. She didn't say pay. She said resolve. I understood. She wanted me to buy silence. I don't buy silence when the topic is fraud. I buy audits. I touched my ring without thinking. Not vanity. Reminder. His urgency doesn't control my timing. 12:28 p.m. He went lower. He tried to label me the abuser. A screenshot reached HR. Tom. She's punishing me because I refused her. She can't handle rejection. He made a classic mistake. He mixed romance with process. And the moment you mix romance with process, you hand me the right to say, fine, then we do this by the right rules. I forwarded every screenshot to compliance with one line. Adding coercion and defamation attempts to Protocol 117. Compliance replied, received. Do not engage outside formal channel. Done. Gossip tried to become judgment. I turned it into evidence. Then I sent a single neutral message to the board with 2 attachments. For alignment before the meeting, technical timeline, logs plus emails. Timeline. The moment you deliver timeline, narrative turns to dust. A director replied in 30 seconds. Received. Another. Will handle formally. A third didn't reply. He called. "Any? Tom is here with me. Do you want to speak to him now?" I checked the time. 1:07 p.m. I understood what was happening. They wanted a live confrontation, no record, so he could push me off balance. I wouldn't give him a stage without a camera. I said slowly, "Put him on speakerphone." Silence. Then Tom's voice, too close, too confident. "Any, you're bluffing. I want to see you prove it." I smiled, because he just asked for the thing I love delivering, and he hadn't seen everything yet. "Now I'll show you the proof that makes a man like that lose his voice." Chapter 7. Audio, date, name. When I said speakerphone, I wasn't asking for politeness. I was choosing the format. Because on speakerphone, lies lose comfort. And Tom, without comfort, rushes. The director hesitated. "Any, this is delicate." "Delicate is money disappearing," I said. "Put him on speaker." Click. Tom's breathing hit the microphone like he was smiling. "You want proof," he said. "Then prove it." My watch buzzed. Recording. On. 01:12. I touched my ring lightly. That small diamond 2010 doesn't just symbolize anything. It stores ending. I learned that when I was poor. I learned that threats without recording become he said, she said. And he said, she said becomes loss. I spoke like I was tired. "Tom, confirm one thing. You asked finance to change the supplier bank using my name, yes or no?" He gave a short laugh. "Yes, because you knew. You told me." My voice didn't move. "And you entered finance at 10:18 p.m. yesterday, yes or no?" He exhaled, irritated. "Yes, I needed to fix it." I paused 1 second, then asked the question that opens the whole. "And why did you forward a press pitch about me at 10:32 p.m? The director on the line stopped breathing. Tom's tone shifted, just slightly. "That, you're making that up." I didn't argue. I dropped the sentence that ends theatre. "I have the forward, with timestamp and recipient. Want me to read it?" Silence. My phone buzzed. Compliance. Upload slot available for additional evidence, audio, print. Tom sensed the room turning serious and tried to return to his martyr role. "Any, stop. You're doing this because I left. I cut softly. "Repeat what you said in the glass hallway. The part about sign today or I destroy you. Repeat it." He froze. And that's when ego beat brain. He needed to sound strong in front of powerful men. He needed to win the audience. So he said it, loud, thinking it was just empty intimidation. "I did say it. Sign or I destroy you the right way. Your reputation." The director spoke for the first time, hard. "What did you just say?" Tom tried to laugh. It came out crooked. "I didn't mean it like that." I touched my ring again. Not nerves. Closure. Meaning doesn't forward press emails. Meaning doesn't falsify banking updates. Meaning doesn't enter finance after hours. I heard him swallow. Then I asked the final question, the one that separates scam from confession. "Do you want me to play the audio of your whisper? Or do you want to explain why your PDF was created on a machine named Tom Laptop?" Deadline. When he finally spoke, it wasn't the victim. It was a man angry because he lost control. You're recording me right now. You're sick. Perfect. Because that sentence, said like that, is the sound of someone realizing they no longer control the narrative. I ended the call without drama and sent 3 items to compliance with a subject line I chose carefully. Protocol 117, Supplemental Evidence. Attached, press forward, timestamp, badge log, and the speakerphone audio where he confirmed what he should never confirm. Compliance replied, received. Evidence preservation activated. Maintain distance. No direct contact. I stood up, adjusted my blazer, and walked through the glass hallway like nothing happened. But inside, I was counting seconds. Because I know Tom. When men like him realize proof exists, they don't retreat. They double down. And that's when he played his last card. Chapter 8. His last card. Tom didn't accept losing on paper. He tried to win with spectacle. 2 hours after the speakerphone call, I was in the main showroom, where lighting makes everyone look like they were born rich. Clients moving slow, salespeople smiling, stones rotating under glass. And I felt it. That presence behind me, too close, like he still had access. My phone lit up in my pocket. Tom. Fix this now, or I publish everything. I kept walking. No urgency. Because blackmail always comes with speed, and speed always leaves trail. He intercepted me near a high-value display. "Any," he said loud enough for staff to hear. "Let's talk like adults." I turned slowly and noticed the detail that almost made me laugh. He had his phone in his hand, camera ready, like my reaction was the content he needed. I didn't give it. He lowered his voice and tried the cheapest final move. "You're going to destroy me because I refuse to be your toy," he said, letting the last words spill just loud enough for strangers to catch pieces. A salesperson froze. A client pretended not to hear. And I saw exactly what he wanted. A scene. I answered calmly, the tone that kills scandal. "Tom, if you have anything to say, put it in writing, in the protocol." The word protocol hit him like a slap. His face shifted. Then my watch buzzed. New email. Password reset request. User, Tom. He was trying to re-enter the system, right there, mid-performance. Perfect. He stepped closer and I smelled anger under cologne. "You think I can't hit you?" he whispered. "I have prints, audio, photos, people." I looked at his camera, then my own hand, the ring. I slid my finger over the small diamond like I was nervous. I wasn't. I was recording. He kept going, convinced he was winning. "I'll say you promised me partnership, that you used me, that you built me up and threw me away. You'll become headlines, Any." My phone lit again. IT. Reset attempt. Blocked. Protocol 117 hold. He tried once. Failed. And failed with a timestamp. So he switched tactics instantly, like a man pulling a knife when his first weapon stops cutting. He raised his voice, careful to sound fair. "I just want what's mine. I worked for this company too." I tilted my head like I was evaluating a fake stone. "Did you work? Or did you try transferring money using my name?" He froze for a fraction of a second. Enough. He understood. I wasn't entering his terrain. He tried the last move manipulators always try. Victim before aggressor. "You'll regret this," he hissed. "I'm talking to press today. I already have a contact." I didn't answer. I smiled, small, and that made him angrier because calm is poison to control hungry men. My phone lit again. Unknown number. He's in HR right now saying you're persecuting him. They want you. Of course. He ran to the place where he thought story weighs more than evidence, but I had already prepared the room. I walked out of the showroom at the same pace as always. Behind me, he made sure there was an audience. She's scared. She knows I have everything. I didn't correct him. I let him record his own collapse. In the elevator, my phone buzzed. Compliance. 3 p.m. confirmed. Send additional audio if available. I looked at my ring and remembered the old man who gave it to me, back when I had nothing but work and swallowed shame. He told me once, "When they threaten you with noise, answer with record." I reached my floor and received Tom's last message. No theatre this time. Tom, I'll make you pay. I didn't block him. I let him keep talking, because every word was another line in the report, and I already knew who was about to enter that meeting, and through which door. Now I'll show you how authority entered the game, and why Tom lost the ground under his feet. Chapter 9. Minutes. Report. Silence. 2:57 p.m. I was already seated. Not submission. Scene control. A long table, aligned water bottles, screen ready. 7 occupied chairs, 2 empty. A silence that felt rehearsed. My phone buzzed once. Treasury. He's trying to speak to Director X in the hallway. I didn't look up. I opened my plain folder, not the beautiful folder, the plain one. The one nobody respects until it opens. 3 p.m. The door opened. Compliance entered with a laptop. HR entered with a physical file. And a director who never attends chats entered without a smile. When that kind of person walks in, it's because numbers already exist. In the corridor outside, I could feel the press without seeing them. The press never enters. The press waits outside, like predators that smell blood. My watch buzzed. Recording. On. 0005. Compliance began with no emotion. Extraordinary meeting. Agenda. Vendor fraud risk and improper conduct. Everything will be recorded in minutes. Minutes. The word that kills theatre. HR added, "Any press contact or exposure of internal information is a serious violation. Any coercion or blackmail will be handled under integrity policy." Then Tom entered. The first thing he did was search my face. The second thing he did, like always, was look down. At my hand. At the ring. He sat fast, like the chair was a courtroom and he already had a verdict for me. "I want to speak," he said quickly. "I'm being persecuted." Compliance didn't look at him like a person. Compliance looked at him like a file. "You will speak after the technical timeline is presented." Timeline. I connected my laptop. And that's where he started losing oxygen. First slide. Chronology. Timestamps. Events. No adjectives. 10:18 p.m. Badge entry to finance. 10:21 p.m. Unusual export alert. IT. 10:32 p.m. Press forward email sent externally. 10:40 p.m. Urgent bank update email to finance. 8:27 a.m. Validation denied. Supplier ID mismatch. 9:02 a.m. Speakerphone threat recorded. 11:06 a.m. Internal defamation attempt. Screenshots. 12:28 p.m. Blackmail text. Screenshot. My phone buzzed. IT. New login attempt. Tom. Blocked. I didn't comment. I left the timestamp visible on the corner of the slide like a knife on a table. Compliance said, "Present evidence." I opened a folder named simply Protocol 117. First, the urgent email with my name used as approval. Then, the PDF metadata showing Tom laptop. Then, the IT export logs. Then, the badge report. Tom tried to interrupt. Anyone could. Compliance raised a hand without looking at him. Do not interrupt. He went quiet. I hovered over the audio file. I didn't press play yet. I let the icon sit there, waiting. HR asked, Tom, do you confirm you sent the email requesting supplier banking change? He looked around for an ally. Outside, my phone buzzed with a new message. Unknown number. A journalist is asking your name at reception. Tom answered. I did it because she knew. She told me. The room tilted. Compliance asked flat. Show the formal instruction. Tom opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Then he tried to attack me directly to regain control. She's doing this because I left her. She's using power. HR didn't blink. That is a separate axis. We are discussing fraud and coercion. Is there evidence of blackmail? I looked at compliance. There is. I clicked the audio file. Not play, just pause, 1 second before his threat. Tom stopped breathing, because he knew what was coming. And in that moment, I realized he still believed he could escape with an excuse. Excuses don't erase logs. The room went silent, the pause right before an institutional decision. Compliance turned to the directors. Based on this, I recommend immediate action. Now I'll show you the decision that changed everything. Chapter 10. Validated. I won't lie, I felt pleasure. Not loud pleasure, not humiliation pleasure. Cold pleasure. The kind you feel when truth finally weighs more than narrative. Compliance rotated the laptop toward the board. Based on the technical timeline, IT logs, metadata, and presented messages, there are consistent indicators of attempted fraud and coercion. Indicators. The professional word for you're finished. Compliance continued, neutral. I recommend immediate suspension of access, collection of corporate devices, preventive removal from duties, and formal internal investigation. Legal action to proceed. Tom's eyes widened like it was too much. He tried to laugh. Nothing came out. This is insane, he said to the directors. She's manipulating you. HR cut in like a blade. Tom, do you confirm you forwarded internal information to an external contact linked to press? He blinked too fast. I was asking for guidance. I was scared. Scared. His favourite word when he wants innocence. Compliance clicked one slide. The forwarded email appeared, timestamp, recipient, and his sentence. If you want the full story, I have it. The director who rarely speaks spoke once. You claim fear, but the wording indicates intent. Tom shifted toward me like intimacy could save him. You know I only wanted. I stopped him, low and steady. Don't use my name as your shield. He froze, and I felt the room choose a side. Not sympathy. Structure. Compliance said, for the record, we will play the audio excerpt regarding the threat. Tom raised his hand, panicked. I don't authorize that. Legal asking, clear enough to terrify. Authorization is not applicable here. This is internal integrity review. The recording is already part of Protocol 117. Protocol 117. He heard the number like handcuffs. I pressed play. And the room heard Tom's voice say what he believed would never be repeated. Sign or I destroy you the right way. Your reputation. The silence after wasn't human. It was institutional. Tom tried to speak, but the sound got stuck. HR concluded. Tom, please hand over your badge and corporate phone. You won't be escorted out. He didn't stand immediately. He attempted the last thing proud men do when they lose. You think you won? You'll do. I touched my ring and answered with the same calm I used from the start. Do it in writing. No one defended him. No director said, let's be gentle. No colleague said, he's a good guy. Because the victim had logs. And logs don't cry. When HR escorted him out, his gaze dropped once more. To my hand. To the ring. Like he finally understood that the detail he obsessed over was the detail he never controlled. When the door shut, the building exhaled. But the story didn't end there. Because Tom still had one weapon. Noise. And I had the ability to turn noise into proof. Now I'll show you what happened in the next 72 hours. Chapter 11. The next 72 hours. His fall wasn't graceful. It was fast. And every fast fall comes with the same soundtrack. A person trying to save themselves with more damage. The first message arrived before I even left the building. Tom, you ruined my life. I didn't reply. Screenshot, folder. My watch buzzed. Recording, on, 08. Not because I was recording him. I was recording my path. He didn't know that. Fear makes people talk. Inside my car, the second message hit. Tom, I'm going to press. They'll destroy you too. I touched the ring without looking and answered once, neutral. All contact through legal. No emotion, no pleading. Legal. He hates that word. 7:12 p.m., another vibration. Unknown number. Good evening, we're from a media outlet. We'd like to comment on a complaint about your company. I didn't confirm. I didn't deny. I answered my favorite sentence. Send your questions to our legal email. And hung up. The press doesn't enter. It waits outside. 10:03 p.m. IT sent a report. Login attempts using Tom's credentials. 6 attempts. Blocked. External IP. External IP. Home. Or worse. Compliance replied in the same thread. Security reinforced. Evidence preserved. Legal steps in motion. Next morning, 7:18 a.m., a director called. His voice wasn't panic. It was shame. He contacted me last night. And? I asked calmly. He offered me a deal. If I helped him return, he'd give me part of something. I didn't celebrate. I completed the puzzle. Do you have it in writing? Pause. I have the message. Forward to compliance. Okay. Then came more. HR emailed. Additional record. Conduct. Inside, screenshots of Tom pressuring staff to testify for him, repeating the same line with different names. You owe me. You know what I know. It wasn't one plan. It was a pattern. 12:10 p.m. I ate lunch in a simple place near the company. I pick simplicity when the world spins, because it reminds me who controls me. My phone buzzed. Tom. I know things about you. I have audio. I almost laughed. He didn't have audio. He had arrogance. He assumed saying, I have it, would bring back my fear. It didn't. I replied, Send to legal. 3:33 p.m. He showed up outside the building, waiting for a scene. Security messaged, "He's outside." I didn't go. I said one thing. Ask him to leave. File a report. Report. The strongest response to spectacle. Later, legal messaged, "Cease and desist ready. Protective corporate measure under review." Corporate. Perfect. This wasn't an X. This was integrity. By the end of 72 hours, Tom had done exactly what I wanted. He left evidence in every direction he ran. But I wasn't finished. Because he still had invisible allies. People who disappear when risk arrives, then show up when they think there's profit in leftovers. And I was about to see who was who. Now I'll show you what surprised me on day 4. Chapter 12. Raps run first. On the 4th day, Tom didn't surprise me. Other people did. Because when a man falls, truth doesn't fall alone. It drags everyone standing too close. 8:12 a.m. my phone buzzed. Executive assistant. They want your official statement. Some people are uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Not with fraud, with the idea that I didn't swallow it quietly. I replied, "My statement is in Protocol 117. Numbers make drama people furious." 9:06 a.m. Someone who'd been silent suddenly emailed with a sugary tone. Subject, peaceful solution suggestion. Any, it may be better to end this discreetly. Think of the company name. I read it and felt a familiar memory. When I was poor and people told me not to cause noise, because noise is what people without seats do. I closed it. Screenshot. Folder. 9:44 a.m. IT confirmed what I needed. File share mapping. Tom sent contract_draft to 2 internal users before contract. 2 internal users get to 2 internal users before the one of the trath. Tom sent internal users before the 2 internal users before the one of the trath. 3 next interner, 9 night before the one of the trath. Starting the 4 of the defective, Tom sent file share mapping to 2 internal users before the one of the trath. IT confirmed what 2 internal users before sending to finance. 2 users, names. I didn't feel anger. I felt organization. Because now it wasn't a story, it was a network. Compliance pinged me. Do you authorize a full audit of supplier accounts for the last 90 days? I replied, yes. Then HR messaged. Tom contacted an employee asking for a statement against you. We have screenshots. I replied, attached to protocol. Simple, because I wanted to see who would try to save him. 11:20 a.m. The allies began evaporating. The same executive who said, "It's looking bad," invited me into her office and smiled the careful smile of someone trying to look neutral. I just want you to know I was always on your side. I looked at her for 3 seconds. Not rage. Reading. Since when? She smiled, uncomfortable. Always. I smiled back. Then forward to compliance the message he sent you last night. Her smile died. I didn't. Forward it, I repeated, soft. She breathed like she was choosing between 2 shames. Okay. Perfect. Then a director I once helped years ago came into my office and shut the door like it was friendship. Let's be practical. This could become hell. Make an agreement, pay him and end it. I asked one question. Is that your idea? Or his request? He froze. Silence is a confession. I touched my ring and said, You know that's obstruction, right? Hands up. Panic. I'm just trying to help. Help by forwarding this conversation to compliance. He turned pale. Not necessary. It is. He left without an answer. That's when I understood. Tom had planted one thing inside the company before he fell. Fear. Fear of press. Fear of scandal. Fear of looking bad. And some people would rather pay fear than face it. I don't pay fear. I bill proof. 2:10 p.m. Compliance sent preliminary audit results. 3 supplier records show attempted changes, none executed. All requests originate from Tom or forwarded through his chain. Forwarded. Someone pushed. And I already knew who. That night, an unknown number texted. He's saying he'll sue you and claim abuse. I felt relief, because abuse is what scammers say when money fails. It's desperation, and desperation is predictable. I looked at the ring, and I realized I still had one piece I hadn't used yet, the most intimate recording, where he thought his whisper had no consequence. I was saving it, for perfect timing. And timing was coming, because HR delivered the final message of the day. Tom asked to speak to press today. He wants to tell his side. I smiled. He wanted a stage. I was about to give him one. My way. Now I'll show you how I chose the moment to close the big loop. Chapter 13. 6 months later. 6 months is enough time for 2 things to happen at once. Noise dies. Results appear. Tom didn't vanish overnight. He tried to crawl back through cracks. He posted himself as wronged online, sent messages through strangers, tried to paint the company as cold for not hugging his sad story. Sad stories don't pay audits, and they don't change logs. I did the opposite of what most people do after a scandal. I returned to work like work was the point. Because it was. In the first 30 days, I closed what needed closing, compliance with real autonomy, a validation trail for every new supplier, quarterly permission reviews, and one cultural rule. If it's urgent, explain it twice. A monthly report arrived. Operational risk reduction, plus 18%. Critical incidents, 0. Numbers are my applause. In month 3, we signed a contract I'd been chasing. An international retail network that watched me for years waiting for me to slip. I didn't. In the signing meeting, an executive told me, "You treat integrity like a product." I answered, "Integrity is our most expensive diamond." Tom, meanwhile, became a sequence of failed attempts. First, he applied in the same industry. No one hired him. The diamond world is small. When your name appears in an integrity report, it sticks to your forehead. Then he tried online consulting, how to survive a narcissistic woman in power. A few pity likes. Pity doesn't pay bills. In month 5, someone sent me a screenshot. Tom on LinkedIn. Open to opportunities. I'm resilient. Resilient. I smiled. Because I remember the whisper. Sign or I destroy you the right way. Resilient wasn't Tom. Resilient was me. When I was poor, swallowing humiliation without losing clarity. Then he messaged me again. 1 mask per week. Anger. Nostalgia. Threats. Apologies. Until a Friday message made me laugh out loud. I can offer you a deal. You delete this and I delete the rest. Delete. As if integrity is a file. As if the world has Control Z. I didn't answer. I forwarded it to legal. A week later, legal confirmed, Measures granted. Notifications and restrictions confirmed. Confirmed. 6 months later, Tom was negotiating with wind, and I was bigger than before. But the story still needed one public scene. Not vanity, closure. Because the world forgets fast, and I wanted the lesson to stay. It wasn't romance that saved me. It was preparation. Now I'll show you what happened 1 year later, when press tried to enter through a crack. Chapter 14. Cover, microphone, footnote. 1 year later, I walked into a hotel-cold auditorium under stage lights. This wasn't a crisis meeting. This was public validation. My phone buzzed backstage. PR. Press confirmed, 2 portals and a trade magazine. I thought what I always think. The press doesn't enter, it waits outside. And when it enters because you open the door correctly. I adjusted my blazer and looked at my ring catching stage light like it was nothing. But I remember exactly what it holds. That's why I never remove it on important days. They handed me the program. Talk. Integrity as competitive advantage in luxury. Luxury. They love that word. I prefer process. My watch buzzed. Recording on. 06. Habit, not nerves. When you don't have a famous surname, you need proof. The host announced me with numbers behind my name. Growth, expansion, audits completed, 0 critical incidents. Respect filled the room, the kind of silence that isn't doubt, it's weight. A notification popped. Article published. The executive who protected an empire with compliance. I didn't open it. Titles become official versions. Official versions are what men like Tom can't tolerate. On stage, I didn't start with a quote. I started with a cut. I've been threatened in my own glass hallway. Murmurs. Open loop. When someone tries to beat you with noise, I continued, you answer with record. I never said Tom's name. I refused to give him stage. I gave timeline, decisions, culture. I turned scandal into method. Applause came, real applause, not pity, recognition. Then my PR lead pulled me aside. The magazine wants a photo and a comment about the case. I smiled. No names, no details, only the lesson. Then my phone buzzed with something I didn't expect. Event security. A man is insisting at the entrance, says he knows you. My stomach didn't move. I knew who it was. Tom can't live without trying to reopen doors, and he always chooses the most public moment. PR looked at me tense. Do you want us to? I touched the ring. Let it be recorded. Because Tom had become a footnote, and footnotes only appear when the main text is written. I inhaled once. I'll handle it. But not alone, not impulsively, not his way. Now I'll show you what he tried that night, and how it failed in the most ridiculous way possible. Chapter 15. You can't blackmail a legacy. I didn't go to the entrance on impulse. I went for scene control. 2 guards with me, PR behind, legal on speakerphone. I didn't need courage. I needed framing. At the glass doors there was Tom, too polished for a man who just wants to talk. Shirt pressed, hair perfect, posture of apology, eyes of testing. He saw me and, like always, His gaze dropped. My hand, my ring. His obsession was almost sad if it weren't dangerous. "Any," he said, loud enough for a journalist nearby to hear. "We need to end this like adults." I answered low, starving the audience. "You're not authorized to be here." He opened his arms theatrically. "Look at you, powerful woman with security. Aren't you ashamed?" I tilted my head like I was judging a counterfeit. I had shame when I was poor and people tried to silence me. Today I have procedure. My watch buzzed. Recording. On. 0014. He noticed the guards and swapped masks in real time. Soft voice now. "I just want a chance. I was desperate. I loved you." Loved. He always used that word like a master key, but the lock had changed. "You don't love me," I said. "You love what you thought you could take from me." His face reddened. Then the venom arrived. "You think you're untouchable because you won. I still have things. I can still expose you." I smiled, small, polite. "Then expose me." He froze. He expected fear. I gave him rope. Tom raised his voice for the invisible microphone. "She destroyed me. She took everything." I looked at security. "Record his name and call police if he doesn't leave." PR lifted a phone, not gossip, protection. Then came the ridiculous moment. Tom pointed at my ring like it proved corruption. "See? She buys everything. Judges, reports, everyone." Too loud, too many words, too many accusations. In front of press, that isn't power, it's confession. Security said firmly, "Sir, leave." Tom stepped back like he would, then pulled out his phone. "I have her audio," he announced. "I have everything. Want me to play it right now?" I stayed calm. "Play it." He blinked. Because he didn't want truth. He wanted fear. He pressed play. And what blasted through the entrance wasn't my voice. It was his. Clear as glass. "Sign or I destroy you the right way. Your reputation." It echoed across the doorway. Tom froze like he'd been slapped by air. He played the wrong file. Or worse, he didn't even remember what was on his own phone anymore. The journalist nearest lifted her eyebrow. "That audio is..." I didn't dramatize. I said to security, "Now you understand why he doesn't enter." Tom fumbled to stop the audio, finger shaking. Pathetic. And in pathetic, he exposed himself completely. "That's manipulation," he shouted. "She staged it." I touched my ring and said softly, almost cruel in its calm, "I didn't say it. You did." The journalist looked at me. "Would you like to comment?" I answered like a headline without becoming gossip. Integrity isn't opinion, it's record. And I walked away. That was his last public breath. After that, he tried one more low move, messaging a new employee offering an exclusive story in exchange for access. She forwarded it to compliance. And that's when I saw the best part of legacy. When culture changes, it doesn't need you to defend it. People defend the standard. Women on my team told me they finally felt they didn't have to swallow everything to keep a job. Finance trainees asked for integrity training like it was career growth. HR built protocol inspired by the case. I didn't become the woman who was betrayed. I became the woman who hardened an empire. But I still wanted one final scene. Not a stage. A silence. The kind Tom never understood. Now I'll show you how I closed it, inside the building, where the ring always belonged. Chapter 16. The Diamond Doesn't Forget. I didn't end this story on a stage. I ended it where Tom never learned to live. In silence. A few days after the event, I arrived early, before perfume, before theatre, before the building learned to smile. The showroom lights were still off. The displays looked like empty boxes waiting for meaning. I walked slowly through the same glass hallway where it started. Same corridor. Same spot. The place he tried to shrink me in public like I was only appearance. My phone buzzed once. His name. Like the world was testing whether I still reacted. Tom. I just wanted you to remember me. I read it. No anger. A clean pity for someone who believes presence is earned through threat. I didn't reply. I archived it. Final record, final folder. My watch buzzed. Recording. On. 0:09. I stopped in front of the glass and looked at my reflection. Any today. Company, reputation, team. And any before. Poor, swallowing shame, surviving a world that calls firm women difficult. I touched the ring. Small diamond, discreet shine. 3 callbacks. Beginning, middle, end. I removed the ring carefully, placed it in my palm, and remembered the old man who gave it to me years ago. Not to make me look rich, to make me safe. He said, "A strong man can rob you with force. A smart scam robs you with shame." I pressed the tiny point on the stone. Click. The recorder responded. I didn't need that audio anymore. But I wanted to hear it once more, for me. I played it softly in the empty hallway. Sign or I destroy you the right way. Your reputation. I didn't flinch. I smiled. Because now that sentence didn't threaten me. It reminded me. It reminded me what I survived. What I learned when I had nothing. What I carried until I became everything. I stopped the audio, put the ring back on, and walked into the conference room. Same long table, same screen, different agenda. Growth, expansion, mentorship. I wasn't building diamonds anymore. I was building culture. And here's what I wish someone had told me when I was younger, poor, and trying not to be crushed by other people's noise. Don't forget what your past self survived. Use that wisdom to win today. Because if you come from the bottom, you learn the most expensive truth in the luxury world. Shine doesn't save you. Preparation does. I closed the door, inhaled once, and felt that quiet satisfaction, the kind that only exists when justice doesn't chase anyone. It's already recorded. He tried to run the perfect scam. He chose the wrong woman.